Well, I will watch the daily grind and I will watch the daily mile just to
My
be
all-time favorite
like
song.
It's the best song ever. I lost the
I've
tune.
genuinely thought about putting it in my vows because I was like, this is the most romantic love song in the world. He would walk 500 miles, and then he would walk 500 more.
That's a
Drew and
thousand.
I have been at probably dozens and dozens of bars, and this song is requested every single time we're there.
I have spent hundreds of dollars requesting 500 miles by the Proclaimers at different bars with government.
Man,
Hundreds.
I didn't. That makes me so happy. I didn't even know that. I was just
That's why I was like,
my mom, and my first dance with my mom at my wedding, we remixed it and threw in 500 miles at the end.
Wait, that's the best thing I've ever heard.
You picked a perfect song for me.
Hell, dude, I know the Proclaimers are watching, so I'm glad we did it, dude. Yes, I would walk 500 miles to record the Daily Grind with you guys. Maybe not today.
Not today.
Not today. Welcome to the Daily Grind, everybody. I'm your host, Luke Hatmaker. I got my frog and my toad with me today. I got Uncle Buck and I got Buckets. Rusty and Drew, how are we, fellas? Shout out Wayno in the comments too. He likes the song. It's going to be playing at his funeral, he says.
That I don't know that it really fits a funeral.
Yeah, it's more of an upbeat, happy, like you're doing things like, because you love. I don't know. Anyway, we're good here in Memphis. We're a bit chilly.
I tell you who's not walking today is our friend Wayno Hunt.
Yeah, that's it.
Walking on the streets of gold is what we're the tie that we're gonna make.
Are we safe? Are y'all safe in Memphis? I know we've got sleet and snow.
Yeah,
and cold.
I let Shelby out in it. We probably got between like an inch to 2 inches, 1 to 2 inches of ice and snow. And so, if anything, we're walking in a winter wonderland around here. But we certainly ain't walking 500 miles.
It is brutal.
Yeah, cold.
22 degrees or whatever it is outside. We're like, I mean, northeast Mississippi is kind of like southwest Tennessee at this point. Yeah. I mean, it's got about an inch or a half an inch of snow, but it is just brutally cold. The kids are out of school. My wife is on a work trip, and so like we're just it's just it's the apocalypse here. This is worst case scenario. If I lose any power, I think my kids are just gonna have to fend for themselves.
It's gonna be like Lord of the Flies in your house, and I'd be like, "Here's the conch. You yell with the conch when you need to talk. Otherwise, I'm not listening."
That's it. That's it. I let Shelby out, watch her slip all over the back porch, and it gave me a good idea for an ice pun, but it slipped my mind. So we'll keep going.
I hate you.
I love it. The Proclaimers and puns, man. This is a hell of a day, hell of a way to start a Wednesday. We're going to continue the excitement of this Wednesday by talking about buyout market candidates. I know that's everybody's favorite. I want you guys to imagine. I thought of this little exercise last night. Well, let me preface this for those of you who don't know. Let me give you the specifics. Oh, also, look what I got at Aldi yesterday. Look at this little I Am Groot phone stand.
Oh, that's amazing.
I don't think she charged me for it.
That's the best part. I still use my Marcus Smart one from a giveaway at a game a couple years ago.
How
does it work?
Yeah.
It actually works. It actually plays.
Ooh, that was good. Okay, so anyway, for a buyout to happen, the player, the team, yada yada, they got to negotiate the player's remaining salary. Once it occurs and a player is put on the waivers, it takes 48 hours for him to sit on waivers. And if he clears waivers, he becomes an unrestricted free agent, can sign with any team. The big thing to note is that they have to be signed by March 1st. That they have to have cleared waivers by March 1st if you want them to be on your team for the playoffs. The reason I bring this up is it looks like the Grizzlies have an open roster spot. The Johnny Davis spot is still filled, but TBD was, I mean, TBD is like the most underwhelming response you can. How do you feel about that guy? TBD. Yeah. It's just that leaves one open roster spot. Now the Grizzlies
he's worse than bad. Like they're just willing to say like we'll pay you to stay at home until we find somebody that we want. Then we're going to cut you.
Yep.
And pay you a lump sum rather than your bi-weekly pay schedule. We'll just pay you the rest, and then you can just do whatever you want to. Like he can't even sign with a new team. He's just like
he's in purgatory.
Yep.
He's just
He's in basketball purgatory.
Iguodala situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Without the ESPN pity parade.
Yeah, because no one knows who Johnny Davis is. Sorry,
exactly.
And granted, who knows? The Grizzlies. He's not going to be on this team now. Do they convert one of these two ways into a main roster spot? Maybe the only one that I would.
Interesting question.
Yeah, the only one that I would do would be Cam, but he's out. I mean,
likely out for the year at this point. Wayno with he had his ankle stuff, then he had the thumb surgery. I don't know that we'll see Cam Spencer. If we do, it'll be late in the season. He had thumb surgery, and that's going to take a while.
So,
I don't expect him to be a contributor, right?
But you think he might play?
Yeah.
Daniel says, "Sign me up for purgatory."
Absolutely.
The best job in the world is being a backup quarterback in the NFL. You just get paid to stand on the sideline, watch football, hold a clipboard, and this is what Johnny Davis is doing. He's getting paid to watch basketball in purgatory.
Yep.
He doesn't even have to watch basketball.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to leave his house.
He can just sit there. So whether or not they convert one of these 3-2-way guys remains to be seen. We'll see if they leave. I guess there's also a full chance that they leave this spot open and they just head into the playoffs for the 14-man roster and not have that 15th spot filled. For the sake of this exercise, here's what we're going to do. We're going to pile up. I'm like, hey kids, let's get in the family forerunner, and you see all these stupid bumper stickers on the back, and you're like, well, there's a lot of bumper stickers, Dad. And we haul in, and I'm like, we're going to the buyout market. It's Tuesday. The buyout market is every single Tuesday. And I'm like, look at all this fun stuff. And you see your carrots and your Amish donuts. And then you see a bunch of NBA players hanging out under a tent, and they're just sitting there, they're swaying, they're like, maybe they're doing some dribbling.
Doing the little NPC, like waiting queue.
Some of them are like, if it glitches, they're just like walking into the door. They like can't.
It sounds like First Monday in Ripley.
That's what I was about to say. Luke, you got to come to Ripley, Mississippi on the first weekend of the month because we've got it's like the most redneck trade show in the world. Like it's just a field of permanent structures that's just like permanent pavilions. People bring their campers in and sell their bootleg t-shirts and chickens and baseball bats and cards and
memorabilia.
If
it's not there, it doesn't exist. And I've got a story about having to drive a goat home from there in the back of my Ford Bronco for another day. And it's just like it's a hot mess express, man.
So back by the goats is where they would keep your almost washed NBA players.
Yeah, yes, you got Kyle Anderson back there just doing this.
Your Larry Nance Juniors.
This sounds way better than where I was thinking, because I love that there's a pavilion where each player can stand in. So you got all these pavilions to look at players. I'm going to give you guys some names, and you just tell me if you would maybe take them. And granted, these are guys that I'm not like, there's some guy, Larry Nance Jr. I thought about, but he's out for like 6 weeks. I think there's certain players that I really liked that I didn't include on here, but these are just some names. And I don't know if anybody, you got to remember, what's the point in bringing somebody in if they're not going to play and if they're not going to make you guys better? Right. So I'm just going to throw out some names. First one that I thought of, do either of you guys like Bones Highland?
No.
I like some aspects of his game, but I don't like him in a locker room.
No, he was looking to be a solid player, high upside, like Lou Williams, kind of bench heater for Denver, and they just got rid of him for nothing because they couldn't stand him being around a good team. Like, I don't want any part of somebody who can't be a part of a good team.
Mm-hmm. I'm completely with you guys. Guy can put up numbers, but when you have a problem, when you complain and say it's a quote unquote shit situation, I say quote, I guess I could say, when you're playing with Denver and Nikola Jokic, just like, dude, come on, get your head right.
Yeah.
And granted, this is someone that was waived. He's on the waivers right now. I think Atlanta waived him yesterday, so I'm sure someone will pick him up. I don't want the Grizzlies to. Here, what about Kelly Olynyk? Because I do think there are some big names, quote bigs, on the market that I think could potentially help in the rotation. The first two that I'm thinking of, Kelly Olynyk, which I believe he's a buyout candidate.
He's a candidate, but he hasn't been bought out yet.
No, I didn't think he had. New Orleans, right?
Yes. Yeah. And the other big that I want to talk about is Chris Boucher for the Raptors, who also has not been bought out yet and may not be bought out. He's having the best season he's ever had and playing really well, but what are the Raptors doing? The Raptors are a wild card. But Kelly Olynyk and Chris Boucher were two bigs that I were like, I actually like both these players, and I think they could bring something to our big rotation. I just don't know. Because neither of these guys have been bought out, so I don't know if their teams will buy them out. They might not even be on the market.
Of the two, Kelly Olynyk to me kind of has proven a little bit more of what he could do for this team. He can bring a bit of that edge. He can some toughness in the post for us. I like how he could pair alongside Jaren. I like Kelly Olynyk of the two. If I had to pick one, I think I would lean more Kelly Olynyk. Though I do like Chris Boucher's name or game. I just think we've seen more of Kelly Olynyk.
I like his name.
To this team. I like his name.
Yeah.
I like
Rusty
his
has
game.
never seen Chris Boucher play basketball.
Oh, come on. We've seen him play for some garbage Raptors games.
Yeah. Only when he's playing against the Grizzlies, and we all turn those games off. Be honest with the listeners.
I've done a post-game bounce, had to watch the whole thing. All right, thanks.
And I know all of us watched Boucher play on that Raptors team that won the title. He played on that team, so we can all say we at least watched that.
His brother was a Mud Dog.
Boom. Go Bobby. Go Bobby. Man, my favorite scene from that movie is at the very end when it cuts to the assistant coach and his overalls are off. And I think that he's just touching his nipples. It's so funny.
I'd be remotely interested in Olynyk. I feel like Olynyk is a polished, playoff experienced. What's that guy? Big tall guy that plays for our team that shoots a lot of threes. With the ball spot.
J-Huff with the ball spot. Yeah. Damn.
I can say it. I've got my bona fides in the bald spot, community. So I could say it. Yeah, I would say he's just like a J-Huff with a little bit of playoff experience.
And he rebounds.
That's the rebounding is for me. I'm like, I want someone.
Kelly Olynyk at least rebound.
Canadian Dirk. Bueno sense.
Oh man, that's funny. I do see shout out DG. He says Malcolm Brogdon. I believe the Wizards are holding on to all of their guys. So I believe Brogdon, Smart, and
already came
Chris
out
Middleton already said that. Another name that I really like that is obviously also going to Bruce Brown. Raptors or the Pelicans are keeping.
I think
him.
they're keeping him too.
Yep. Which is,
I think the Pelicans came out and said they were going to keep all their guys. I think
so. Can I lob a name out there?
Yeah,
you may have him on your list, but there's one that I've been eyeing. He's played on, I think, 4 or 5 different teams this year. He's already played the Grizzlies about a half dozen times. But I liked his name. He came up with the Cam Johnson trade, but Dennis Schroeder is going to get balled out by the Jazz. And if he can bring in,
he's at Detroit. They're keeping him. They're keeping
Detroit's keeping
him. Yep.
Okay. Last I saw that he was a buyout candidate, and if he got bought out, he's the name that I would love to bring to Memphis for the toughness, the edge. He gives us what we were talking about, what we'd missed from Dylan Brooks, and I think that Schroeder fits what we need on his basketball team.
Yeah, well, and then there's another. I'm glad you said Brooklyn because there's another guy on their team that I like. Bogdanovich, Bojangles. That's another guy that I'm just not sure what his situation is. They're still trying to figure out their roster. There's a couple of these teams or a couple of these guys that I like that might not actually get on the which is a shame because there's some dudes that are on these lists that could really potentially help some guys. I do think that I saw Lonnie Walker in the comments. I'm not entirely sure what Lonnie Walker's situation because I know he's playing in Europe right now.
He got signed yesterday by the Philadelphia 76ers.
76ers.
Oh, boom. So there it is.
That would have been the best option, I believe, because I think that's the position we need the most is a backup point guard. So Schroeder did get bought out fine. Lonnie Walker would have been fine, but he was playing in Europe and didn't have a suitor for an NBA team. So I mean, this buyout market, it's really like purchasing goods from First Monday. I mean, there are no solutions here. There's just break in case of emergency options.
Yeah, there's a couple other guards, Reggie Jackson and Trey Jones.
Yep,
Tyus Jones' brother. Both of them are on the buyout market as a couple options for a backup point guard. And then for another guy level of toughness.
Chicago released Trey Jones?
He is a buyout candidate. He has not been bought out yet, but he's one that is a buyout candidate.
I don't see him making the market.
Reggie Jackson, that's somebody that I had on. That's a dude with championship pedigree who seems to contribute to exactly what you said, to a backup point guard who doesn't know exactly that's what he does. He doesn't do anything else. He's like, I'm your backup point guard. I know what I do. I know my role.
Defense.
And he plays defense, and people like him. And he brings championship pedigree. He was on that Denver team. I like Reggie. And how much was his? Yeah, I think it's a no.
It is a no for Mo
It's a no. I mean, we can play the song, but we can keep the song, but not the player.
Bueno, if you say his name one more time, you're going to timeout.
It's like Bol all over again. Bol in the comments is Mo Bamba today.
I'd rather have Bol 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
What about PJ Tucker from the Raptors? Post player, toughness.
And the Raptors are a team that I just don't know. There's so many guys at the end of their roster where I was like, I like all the. There's some dude I would take some of these guys I think can help, but I don't know what they're doing.
They have locked themselves in to like the 9 seed for the next 5 years.
Yeah, man, I feel bad for Darko.
Like they don't even know how to tank appropriately. Like they were tanking, and then all of a sudden they went 10 in a row, and it's like, I mean, that's great, but now you're a basketball purgatory.
Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, man, it's like I don't know what Portland is doing now. Or we can talk about team. We might have an old episode of like, what the hell is this team doing? But there's Reggie Jackson is one that I think that's the biggest. I mean, I think he was already waived. Real quick, I want to throw this up there. FPJ Tucker to the moon. FPJ Tucker to the moon and back. Sounds like a
Sinatra song.
Yeah.
F me to the moon.
There it is. Yes. I think Reggie Jackson has already said that he's going to be waived, and they're just trying to find someone to buy him.
I would take a stab at Reggie Jackson if I was this front office for sure.
He makes $2.1 million. You know,
oh my gosh.
I love a guy that wears goggles. You know?
Me too.
I mean, that's it, man. He like Horace Grant throwback. Like, give me that. And he plays defense, championship pedigree, which is what we need.
Yep. I think that it's not
it hits massive home runs. Mr. October. Reggie Jackson.
Oh God. Okay. The kids just made me mad at the buyout market. I'm like, all right, we're leaving. I don't know. It's just it's not a great. If you're going into the buyout market looking for a solution to fix your problems, you're probably not going to go very far. Right. That's why I don't think I would be okay if the Grizzlies, if they just go in with 14. I mean, if they left that spot open with the intent of maybe Trent like converting Cam's contract at the end of the year, I'm okay with. I'm not. Hey, we need to go in with a full deck here. I don't want to give. God forbid we sign someone that I don't like and we give TJ another guy to like, another guy that he like. I won't be upset if we go in.
And not to be a wet blanket on this situation, but they got to want to come to Memphis as well. And we've not seen a lot of proof lately that anybody wants to come here. Like, it just is what it is. We keep having stars tell us, don't trade for me. Like, I know this is not the caliber of player, but you got to think that for guys like Reggie Jackson, who's got playoff pedigree, you got to hope that you're the only team calling or you're going to offer the most money,
Or like if you're looking for a championship, like the guys who turned us down some of the stars this year was about money. Like KD, Jimmy Butler are not going to get re-signed here, and they're not going to get a massive deal because we're paying Jaren. And so some of that, like, it's not all on the city of Memphis. A lot of it's on our financial flexibility. But if you want to win, and you're a guy like Reggie Jackson who's come close and played for championships and all that, like if you want to go win a championship, come to Memphis, man, because like we're a piece away from a championship type team.
It's not a Reggie Jackson. It's not a Reggie Jackson side.
It's not. I'm saying, like, if you want to be on a championship team, like, come to Memphis.
We are a Reggie Jackson away from.
That's not
nobody
what I meant.
has ever said that.
I would love that. If we were at a point where we were a Reggie, I'd be so happy.
I mean,
if
that'd be
we
ideal.
were a Reggie Jackson away, then we have arrived.
We are here.
We may be. We don't know. We haven't been healthy yet.
Yes, shoot. But this conversation is kind of just going where I want it to, and I see Wayno is throwing up in the comments. He's saying everybody is leaving anyway, and I want to talk about a quote unquote report that came out yesterday. A report. This is how you know it's a slow news week, guys, because there's just so many stories where it's like, guys, this isn't a story. I listened to this podcast before the report came out, and in the podcast, Howard Beck is even like, he even says this isn't a real, like, one dude said this isn't passing. There's no truth. Like the quote that was taken from him is so funny because if you listen to that whole pod, which the real ones, I'll give them credit. It's like, if you listen to the whole thing, he goes on a whole nother spot before that talking about, I don't actually think this is what's going to happen.
That's what I was telling Rusty. Is that like we talked about this on our $2 Sports show yesterday, and to me it read like the clip that was pulled and transcribed. If you read it as if you're listening to a podcast, it sounds like somebody that's just, I don't know.
Yes.
Think about Ja Morant, like that situation. But
yes,
in reality, that's not a situation. He was just trying to make a point.
Yes.
And Legion Hoops does what Legion Hoops does and aggregates snippets without providing context. And the worst thing that could happen out of all this is not that Ja Morant actually gets traded, because that's not going to happen, but that Ja Morant somehow takes this as gospel and gets his feelings hurt or something. But, I've got a feeling that Kleiman and Taylor Jenkins have told him repetitively, like, bro, you are not getting traded.
You're untouchable.
I'm sure that there was a phone call made immediately, because like I told you on the group chat yesterday about the other topic we'll talk about here in a minute, I'm just over all this clickbait, and I'm ready for real basketball to be back, because we have too much time on our hands. Idle hands are the devil's playground, and that's exactly where we're at, as they're getting these wild stories and these wild like takes. And it was probably, I have not listened to the podcast, but from what I've gathered from y'all and some people, it just sounds like he was just talking. It was like, like a Ja Morant, like watch a guy, like just a flippant name that came to mind, and it wasn't gospel. But we all know that it's going to create a rational thought for Grizzly fans on Twitter who were literally looking for a crash out at any moment. And so you get all these takes, you got this wild stuff, but at the end of the day, Ja Morant is not going anywhere. He has said that Memphis is his home. Kleiman has shown no propensity to blowing up a team to go get a superstar. What makes us think he's going to blow up our team by trading our superstar?
There is only one way that Ja Morant ever gets traded from the Grizzlies, and that's if he forces his way out. It will not be a front office led decision. It will not be a Luka Doncic situation. Never.
I think that he, not that. I mean, look at the stuff that he has gotten in trouble for, like, and they have stuck by him. Like, I'm with you. He's not Memphis is not going to get rid of him voluntarily.
And this Luka trade just has everybody feeling goofy. I mean, even Ant in some of his post games was like, I hope I'm not traded next. Like, it's just got everybody feeling a bit unsettled. But reality, like, meanwhile, back at the ranch here, like, all GMs are competent except for one getting fleeced, and it's just got everybody feeling some type of way. When the reality is, as long as you don't play for Nico Harrison, you're fine. You're fine. You're not going to get traded in some goofy trade.
I don't think we should say every GM is competent, but I understand what you're saying.
That's fair.
I understand what you're saying.
They're not all. There's 29 NBA general managers that aren't actively trying to crater their whole franchise.
Yep. Yes. That's a good, like,
to move to Las Vegas.
Yes. Ooh, we should need to have a conspiracy episode. Speaking of teams moving, man, we're transitioning good today. Speaking of slow news, I should say. So the Darius Garland was asked about, I don't know who thought Darius.
Darius Garland, he's from Nashville. He went to high school in Nashville. He played at Vandy. Like,
I get it. But
hey, ask me. You know what? I've got an idea. Somebody put a microphone in my face. I think the Grizzlies should move to Ripley, Mississippi. I do. I think it's a real powder keg environment here. We could really blow up Northeast Mississippi.
I live here,
and it has nothing to do with this at all. But I live here.
He lives there. Like, come on, like that'd be like asking, like, Drew, if they want to move to Ripley, like it's like actually this is home. That's where he's from. Of course, he wants them to move there.
Like, it's so, which I guess credit. I mean, I don't think he said I'm from here. Maybe he did. I don't know. It's really funny though, because when you look at Darius Garland's background, you're like,
I gotta find the whole quote.
Yeah, it's really
weirder than just
it is. It's weirder, and like it kind of brought up. Remember, JJ Redick said it a few years ago, and he came out and publicly apologized for kind of saying like, oh yeah, that they should move out of Memphis because Memphis has such a good basketball culture. It's just literally guys are bored and they have nothing better to do than spew nonsense.
Well, and
this is what he said.
You got it, because it's wild.
He said, Nashville, because I live here. How about we move Memphis to Nashville, put a team in Vegas, a team in Paris, a team in Dubai, and a team in St. Tropez. The dude just kept getting more outlandish with
question. Does anyone know where St. Tropez is? Show
never
of hands.
Heard of.
I'm pretty sure it's not pronounced St. Tropez either. Somebody from St. Tropez is watching this episode and like, Boys is butchering this.
St. Tropez? St. Tropez.
St. Tropez. It sounds
Where
French.
is it?
Yeah.
I thought it sounded French.
I'm looking it up. Just
it's probably in the
Dubai
Caribbean somewhere warm.
It's
probably one of those like French colonies from back in the day. St. Tropez.
It is a town in the Province Alpes Côte d'Azur region of France.
So it is French. Yeah.
So
he just wants to go. He wants to put teams in places where he wants to visit. And Darius Garland may be onto something here.
I feel like it feels like that last city. He just kind of panicked and looked around and just said, I think he saw a shirt that said St. Tropez because he's like, Nashville, Vegas. We have the Emirates Cup, Dubai, and Fargo, North Dakota.
We rented a boat last year.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where's that banana boat at? Where's that banana boat at?
Where's that? It's that small village outside of Thailand. What's that thing called? Like that.
Bangkok.
Bangkok. That's it. Let's throw
put a team in Bangkok. Let me name it. Let me make the mascot for the Bangkok team.
That'd be like me going to my boss and saying, hey, boss man, look, I know I got 8 clinics here in Memphis, but I'd like to put one in Destin so that I have to go down there and visit my clinic in Destin.
Man, that would be sick. Look, we don't. As a Nashvilleian, I've been here since I've been here since 2008. I would be so upset if they moved here. And I know Uncle Buck wanted me to come on here and say, move him to Nashville. Move him to Nashville. I don't know. That's how Nashville people sound. I think that so much of the Grizzlies' identity is rooted in the 901 and it would be stripped away. And it's like, I would hate what it would become down here. I don't like downtown Nashville is
already.
It is already just a place of debauchery and like not the fun kind, like
the bachelorette party kind,
but not the good kind.
Not the good kind.
Exactly.
When they with their first game in the Nashville arena, wherever the new Nashville Grizzlies would play, you'd be welcomed to the game by Blake Shelton. Does anybody want that?
Nope.
No.
Morgan Wallen. No.
And you would be an hour and a half late to the game because you couldn't get past all the party buses to find parking. That's just what it would be.
And then you would interrupt about
bachelorette parties.
13 bachelorette parties, just like when they were Vanderbilt was carrying the goalpost down Broad. Like so many bachelorette parties got upset that night.
They're like, oh my God, I love it.
Go Sports, do the thing.
Nashville doesn't even care about the Titans.
No, like we've got the things that start here in Nashville. That's the stuff that this city grasped to, like the Predators. Predators were a franchise that came here. I think that they would support the absolute hell out of a WNBA team if it started here. But like the Titans came from Houston. Like it's, it's just really hard for this team. I think Nashville could support a baseball team because they grew up watching all these other baseball teams. It's just,
absolutely.
Like I just
put a WNBA team there.
Yes.
Yeah. The Summit was a great name, an awesome logo. Like that, the Tennessee Summit would have been amazing. Like I would have gotten into the WNBA just to support the Tennessee Summit.
Yes. Look, I just think Garland should just learn when to shut up and shout out Art because
out Art.
They just don't
Art's
need to move.
Definitely a dad. He knows how. That's worded exactly like a father. You just need to learn when to shut up.
Yeah, let's put this up here.
So we do training camp in Nashville, correct?
In Innsworth. Yeah, we train in Innsworth Academy, which is an really fancy all boys academy out like in the little west out in the burbs, like 15 minutes outside of downtown.
What message is the Grizzlies front office trying to send by putting the Grizzlies team at an all-boys college to train for the season?
Brian Windhorst over here. We got our own Wendy.
It's just I don't even think. I imagine the Grizzlies players go to this place and they're like, God, this is. I don't know.
They do that so they'll be happy in Memphis.
Yes. And it's like, where I'm going to where's a great place for these young, athletic, attractive basketball people to, where they should go and practice? they should practice in the retirement community of Nashville. That's
it.
where it's called Bellevue, and everyone's always like, "Oh my God, we love Bellevue." It's like there's a Home Depot and a Kroger. That's what Bellevue is like, and a dinner theater. Like it's just so hokey, and that's amazing. Where it is good, but like
it is for us, but not for young NBA players, Drew.
yeah, that's the point. It's just stay in Memphis. Like it's. To me,
it's a moot point. The Grizzlies are never moving out of Memphis.
And they just signed that $550 million lease extension and all this kind of stuff is going to improve the Forum, which is already one of the best venues in sports. They ain't going nowhere.
You try to tell me that lease is just so Jim Gaffigan can keep doing comedy shows in the Forum. I doubt it.
You like Jim Gaffigan?
I like Jim
Gaffigan. Maggie and I watched his special the other night. It's hilarious.
I like it too, but if I have to see another commercial for it, I'm going to be
I know. That's the one thing. Can we grab out FanDuel for just a second? Like, we need new commercials. Like, we watched Desmond Bain talk about the Memphis Zoo for 6 weeks.
Are we the show to talk about repetitive commercials?
Hey,
really?
I don't. Man, it sucks because I've stopped doing commercial breaks, and since I've done that, I think Kenny gets in here and gives me a new commercial like every couple of weeks.
I've had this idea.
I get a new commercial so regularly.
The intro video should stay the same until Luke Kennard is off the team.
No,
it's been a mystery. Two of three of them are out.
They're gone.
We got to wait till Luke Kennard's gone.
No, it's been a mystery box. Me and Kenny are trying so hard to find the file of the theme song. It's like hidden. We're trying to find it, and no one can find the original file. And we're like,
what about?
I know. I heard
Mark
the
King,
theme song.
Like Mark King, that guy that's on the intro. On TV.
I heard the Daily Grind intro on TV the other day. And it was, I had bought Flow Sports, this remote app that only broadcasts one college baseball tournament a year. I had to pay $30 for it to watch Ole Miss play this weekend. And on one of their commercials was the Daily Grind music. And I was like, I guess it was free.
Just a free download on the web.
Not me. Well, shoot, I got to find a lawyer.
It's really funny. We were watching all the Desmond Bain stuff last night, and all the video, which is super cool. Watching him get his jersey retired. No one ever wear one at TCU. And Maggie off the top rope, like they show him, and she was like, "Hey, that's Desmond Bain. When he's not on the court, he likes to hang out downtown at the zoo and on Main Street." It was so funny.
Real quick before we draft? What's your favorite FanDuel Sports Network commercial? Because I got one. In regulation right now. I'll keep it within the one that we see the most because I love Choate's heating and air cooling.
The generator.
The generators.
I love that one. Welcome.
I did laugh for way longer than I should have. I laughed at the Roll Tide Willie commercial.
Roll Tide Willie on the tide. Yeah.
We're always gonna get beat. Well, you can't say nothing about the Tide.
About the Tide. So good. Man, keep them coming, FanDuel. It's Wednesday, and we could have drafted FanDuel commercials, but that's a niche little.
It's a very, very small list.
Very small list.
We get one apiece.
We get one apiece, and if you lose, you get the rendezvous commercial. And here we are going to be drafting. I'm really excited for draft day, not the movie. Draft day, not the movie. Today, so this past weekend was SNL 50, the big SNL 50. It was awesome.
3.5 hours. I watched it all.
That's a long time, and I don't do a lot. I do appreciate being home for 3.5 hours. I was a big fan. SNL is great. I think we all like SNL. As I was starting to draft, as I was getting my draft of cast members yesterday, I was like, shoot, we could do a draft of guest hosts. We could do musical acts. We could do sketches. There really is just 50 years of material here for us to choose. And so I thought, in honor of the 50th anniversary that happened, we were going to draft our cast members, our favorite cast. We can do 5. Let's do 5. We could probably do 10, but we're just going to do 5. And I decided here's how we're going to do it. I have a dice. Rusty, you're going to be 1s and 3s.
He's trying. I'm so hard.
I really don't want to be last here. I'll get a pick I like if I pick 3rd, but first is really important in this draft. I think we can all agree. And for us three specifically, I think the first pick is really important. So, Rusty, you're going to be 1s and 4s. Drew, you're going to be 2s and 5s. I'll be 3s and 6s.
1s and 4s.
2s and 5s. Okay.
Got it.
You need to put. I want the camera on the dice.
This is a Yahtzee dice. You know what?
I'm just messing with you.
I don't want to be.
No, don't do it.
5. So now you'll be 1, 3s, and 5. You be odds. I'll be evens.
Sounds good.
Why do I even try? I tried every way but to load the damn dice. Okay, cool. I mean, why does it matter? I don't go, Drew. Go.
I feel like every single Halloween, if I'm bold enough and really want to commit to the bit, I would make an absolutely amazing Matt Foley. And there is no better SNL character than the man that lives down by the river. Chris Farley is hands down the greatest SNL performer to ever walk the face of the earth. And between that and the Patrick Swayze Chippendales, like he's just absolutely amazing. The Van Down by the River will live on forever, as will the legend of Chris Farley. Chris Farley is number 1.
When he pushes, my favorite, I like Laugh Till I Cry in the Chippendale scene. When he like pushes his pecs together and goes, it's so funny. It's so funny.
I mean, that's it. That's 101. I mean, like
a steady diet of government cheese and living in a van
down by the river.
Yeah.
There's a marked. We're going to take a marked step. Like there's like Chris Farley, and then it's like down here is where we're going to start picking now, right? It's not even close.
Like Drew could pick the rest of that cast that was only on one season for the rest of his. Like you could pick Michael.
I'll just take everybody from the Matt Foley skit. I'll take Spade and Christina Applegate. The people that nobody even remembers.
Yeah.
As long as I can get Matt Foley.
All right, I'm going to go deep in the one of my favorite comedians, one of my favorite just dry humor guys. Norm Macdonald was on SNL for 5 years. He's so good. I love Norm Macdonald. I think if there's anybody that's in that pantheon, like he might be one of them.
My favorite thing that he ever did was he got fired for all the OJ jokes. And then a year later they asked him to come back and he was like, I realize I'm not that funny, but this show just got a lot worse.
Man, his Burt Reynolds on Celebrity Jeopardy.
Amazing. Amazing.
Spot
on.
He's like, it's an oversized hat. It's funny. It's just
it's amazing.
That's stupid.
So you get 2, Luke.
Best weekend anchor update too, by far, I would say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Those one-liners were amazing. Drew and I send those back and forth fairly often because there's a Twitter account that just does Norm Macdonald news updates, and it's amazing.
That's great. I feel good about where I'm at. For my first pick, I'm going to take Will Ferrell. I love Will Ferrell. When I was heavier, I looked a lot like him, and so I would just kind of run through his he's a ginger, and this weekend he played a character in the Scared Straight stuff, which I love, where he was big red because I'm well read, and it's just like really funny. And one of my favorite there's just so many that he's done. I mean, the cowbell, him doing not Michael Bublé. Oh my God, when he's like, oh my God, what's his name? He does Red Ships of Spain. He's like, and then he sings the thong song and he goes, let me. I love it when they call me Big Papa. So throw your hands in the air if you're a true player.
My favorite Will Ferrell skit is the first one he ever did, where he was the boys, get off the shed.
Get off the shed, not the shed. I love when him and is it Molly Shannon when they're in the hot tub and they're like the Wellesley Arms Motel. Methinks I the gods chuckling from on high. I can do it all. I can do it all day.
What's your next one?
Eddie Murphy.
Eddie Murphy,
Yeah.
I was glad to see Eddie back. Him doing Butt Week is just still one of my favorite. Those are my
Mr. Rogers Neighborhood spinoff that they did is
great.
Amazing.
So I'm picking this guy strictly off of one role, my favorite role of all time, favorite skit of all time. I've already got Norm Macdonald from it. You've got Will Ferrell, but when they do Jeopardy and Daryl Hammond is Sean Connery, and when Will Ferrell's like, of Simon and Garfunkel, the one not named Garfunkel, and he hits a button, he's like, I Garfunkeled your mother last night. I lose it every single time. I'm taking Daryl Hammond just because he was a great Sean Connery.
Your mother's a horse, Rebecca.
Boobs.
There's still so many good ones.
Yeah. Yes.
And so I'll go a little bit new school. Actually, no. I've got back-to-back picks. So I'll do an old school and a new school. Okay.
There you go.
I'll go with one of the most old school ones. He's still hilarious to this day. Anytime that he's on a podcast or I have the opportunity to listen to him talk, I'm dialed in. He is the greatest Cubs fan alive, Bill Murray.
Damn it. I was really hoping. Star Wars.
He's amazing. He's one of the funniest people ever born.
One of the weirdest humans, but funny.
Weird.
His bit on the top Weekend Update host that he did on the 50, where he started out with the top 10 black Weekend Update host, and he just had one. He was like
Michael J.
And he was like, okay, now to the rest. All right, so the next one I'll go, and this is more for a role that I just love him for more than SNL, but his SNL stuff was great too. It's Jason Sudeikis.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Ted Lasso is one of my favorite shows of all time.
Good one.
And he's I named my dog Ted.
Yeah.
After Ted Lasso and Ted Mosby. So Jason Sudeikis.
So
I love Sudeikis he's in the background. There was a sketch called What's Up With That, where it was like Keenan, he was like, what's up with that? What's up? And the whole time Jason Sudeikis doesn't talk, he just dances in the background in like an orange tracksuit.
It's so funny.
It's
and
really
he does
funny.
the NBA music.
Oh, yeah.
Give me the ball and I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, give me the ball.
While we're on songs, I'm gonna be chopping broccoli, and I'm going Dana Carvey.
Damn it! I've gotten my guy sniped twice.
He's so good in all the skits with some guys I'm hoping to get later. His spinoffs, like Dana Carvey is hilarious. His stand-up comedy, so funny.
I think Dana Carvey could have been like Jim Carrey levels of like with his physical stuff. If he just, I don't know if he didn't get the role, but I love him.
I think he kind of started it, and Jim Carrey kind of took it and ran with it. I think I agree. He's in that same like physical comedy that just I like him a little bit better than Jim Carrey. I don't know. I like Dana Carvey a lot.
Yep.
And I love like the Master of Disguise. Am I early enough for the Turtle Club?
Turtle. Great. Turtle. Oh God. Okay, so I got two. I'm gonna do
Drew. Oh, it's Luke. Sorry, Luke, you got two.
I was like, don't you dare.
My bad.
I'm going to keep this music thing going. I'm going to take Adam Sandler, the Sandman.
The cafeteria, the lunch lady song is
lunch
iconic.
lady land. When he goes, hoagies and grinders, navy beans. That's another great Chris Farley is the lunch lady. Then I'm going to take, I'm doing this based on one sketch that I love her in. Kate McKinnon in the alien abduction sketches.
Yes, that's my favorite one.
She's got that leg hiked up, and she's just like, wow. Yeah. The one with Ryan Gosling, she's like, your experience sounds a lot different than mine.
just my knockers. Just the euphemisms in there that I don't even want to say.
We can't say because our mamas are watching.
Yep. So good.
it's my favorite SNL skit. And Ryan Gosling being there just only because he can't keep a straight face is the best.
Just holding his face because he's laughing. It's so good.
And they roped in Meryl Streep for that for the 50th. Like,
the greatest actress of all time.
Yeah. Let's see. For me, I'm gonna go a little bit new, or actually, no, I'm gonna go old school because I love a lot of stuff that came later. But John Belushi, another big physical comedy guy, R.I.P. John Belushi was really good on the early days of SNL, and then his spinoffs, Animal House, all that stuff. Give me John Belushi.
Blues Brothers,
amazing. Yeah.
All right, I got
another
one more.
SNL cast member.
Yeah, this is really hard because.
There's so many.
There's one that would make the perfect pairing, obviously, with Spade. I'm sorry, I gave it away, but I meant to say with Farley would be in Spade. But I think I'm going to go a different way. So I'm going to go my other favorite SNL skit, probably number 2, is Debbie Downer. So I'll take Rachel Dratch because she's the greatest Debbie Downer. And then my last pick is just, I feel like this is gaming the system a little bit, but you never think about one without the other. And you've got a John Collins Sexton situation here. So I'm going to go Steve Martin Short. Okay.
Steve Martin Short. Steve Martin was going to be my pick.
I love Steve Martin and I love Martin Short, and together, I don't know, like I feel like me and Rusty, I hope that one day, like, we're on the Tonight Show and we're like 75 years old and it's just like, yeah, we've been doing this together for 75 years. Just like they are. Like,
yeah.
I love both of those fellas.
So
and
good.
watch Only Murders in the Building because it's great.
Yep. Show was
The Three Amigos with Martin Short, Steve Martin, and Chevy Chase. Amazing movie. Just so good. So funny. Watching the damn. All right, so I'm torn here because I've got a new school and an old school. I'm gonna go.
Is this your last pick?
It's my last pick.
Yeah.
I'm torn because I want one because he was on another show that I really liked as a kid, and then he transitioned to SNL. He's been doing great. But I'm going Mike Myers, man. Wayne's World, and then the spinoff for that movie, and then him going into Austin Powers. Mike Myers is always funny when he was on SNL. His new movies. And then I'll say my honorable mention if you don't take him, Lou, because he is worth mentioning in my opinion.
Yeah, I've got some honorable mentions I want to mention as well because I'm gonna keep doing this because I love. He was in another Mike Myers movie. He's one of my all-time favorite, just like stealth low-key guys that was in a lot of stuff. He actually Mini-Me, Vern Troyer.
Mm-hmm.
Phil Hartman. I love me some Phil Hartman.
Yeah.
Let me Google him real quick.
He got killed by his wife. Really sad story if you want to get on a sad. Yeah, it's like a murder-suicide. She was kind of crazy. You'll recognize his face. He was in Small Soldiers. He was in Jingle All the Way.
Yep.
He was in.
He's like a sinister kind of like snaky kind what he plays.
Everything. My all-time favorite is he's in How I Married an Axe Murderer with Mike Myers. He plays a park ranger. He goes, my name's John Johnson, but everyone here calls me Vicky. And
oh my God. That's so deep in the recesses. Like my brain just glitched when you pulled that out because it was like instantly I could see it.
He's in it for 5 minutes and he has stuff and he's like Machine Gun Kelly had what we in the prison system call a bitch. It's just like
it's such a great
so
role.
funny.
And he's on the screen for like 30 seconds at a time. And that's it. It's such a great role.
So that's gonna be mine. Before we recap our picks, there's a ton of honorable mentions. What was yours, Rusty?
Kenan Thompson from all that to SNL. He's so good. And then I want to give a shout out. Tina Fey as Sarah Palin was awesome.
Yeah. I had Spade.
Yep.
David Spade was one of mine. Andy Samberg was really close. I love Kristen Wiig.
Kristen Wiig,
so funny, so funny.
Amy
Seth
Poehler,
Meyers, Amy
Rudolph.
Poehler, Seth Meyers. I mean,
Maya
Rudolph is the name. Yeah,
the tandem of Colin Jost and Michael Che are hilarious. Really Weekend Update. My favorite bit that they do is the joke swap. Like if they did nothing else, I would be fine with that.
Yes.
But yeah, that's a really awesome bit that they do.
Dan Aykroyd that turned Coneheads into one of the greatest movies of all time. Love Coneheads. Like
Jane, you ignorant slut. Just so good.
I thought you were going to say Christmas with the Cranks, but
I love that movie too.
It's good.
Give us Frosty. Give us Frosty. We need Frosty.
We need Frosty.
Oh, Spike was just a neighborhood terror.
Man, the whole. So let's recap our picks. I had, if I can remember, I had Kate McKinnon, Eddie Murphy, Adam Sandler, Phil Hartman, and Will Ferrell.
Yeah, my list is domination. It's Chris Farley, Bill Murray, Jason Sudeikis, Rachel Dratch, and Steve Martin Short.
That's good. That's strong. I got Norm Macdonald, Daryl Hammond, Dana Carvey, John Belushi, and Mike Myers.
Man, like the point is, this show is excellent. All these people are funny, and we mentioned like a whole nother 15 as honorable mention.
Yeah.
Like the well is so vast, and I don't know. I've laughed so hard just talking about these guys, and it's just such a good show. Like I don't know,
such a good show.
I hope
I watched the Jeopardy skit last night. Like when I was working on my list, I watched it again.
But you mentioned Keenan. Black Jeopardy is also one of the funniest sketches where Tom Hanks is Doug. Doug. It's just great. It's just great. Like shout out SNL. Shout out Lauren Michaels.
I'm so resentful that in 25 years when they do the 75th, whatever, we'll look back at that and we're going to be like, who is that little blonde girl? And they're like, oh, let me Google it. That's Sabrina Carpenter. Oh, okay. I guess we fell for that fad.
Man, Sabrina Carpenter catching strays here.
Wow.
Sorry, Sabrina, if you're watching.
If you're watching, I changed. I rescind what I said. Go Grizz.
That's gonna do it for our show today. Go Grizz, indeed. Everybody have a good day. Stay safe. It's cold and winter outside and icy. Everybody stay inside. If you don't have to leave, don't. We will be back tomorrow when we finally have basketball back. The Grizzlies will be playing the Indiana Pacers. Thank Lord. Hopefully they win. We're going to talk about that game tomorrow. If we can leave y'all with anything today, thank you for hanging out with us, by the way. The comments were popping. Appreciate all y'all. If we can leave you with anything, remember, just to be a little weird, just a little bit, and remember to smile just like that. Bye, guys. Have a good Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow.